Hey there, welcome to Cosmic Confessions, a podcast by your spiritual besties.
I'm Alex.
I'm Avery.
And I'm Melissa.
Coming at you unhinged,
Unfiltered,
and unedited.
Join us on this journey as we explore the profound,
the practical,
and the unlimited potential within us.
Let's awaken our spirits, ignite our passions, and elevate our lives together as the universe speaks and we listen.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cosmic Confessions podcast. We are bringing you part 2 of Non-Negotiables, but we're going to be talking about intimate relationships. It's a juicy one. Avery, confess, darling.
Oh my God. Well, this is probably a personal confession, but I don't want to do this. I just want to bye guys. See you later. I gotta go. It's giving me when we did the healthy masculine vibes and my body language was like, I don't think I spoke in that episode.
I don't want to be here.
I don't want to be here. I can't even relate, and I'm out. Peace. So let's go, because some time has gone by.
Let's see what this episode brings.
Yes.
Some time has gone by. So
all right.
help me. Okay.
Yeah. It's okay, because you want to know why? We can have hard conversations and we can do hard things.
We can do hard things.
We like to get uncomfortable.
We do. So I'm going to kick us off with the first question, and it's all about red flags. Because Lord knows. What is one red flag in a relationship that you refuse to ignore, no matter how much chemistry you have with that person? What is the red flag that waves?
Want me to go first?
Well, this came just strong in my brain.
Okay.
When you can't stop talking bad about your ex or your partner from the previous relationship.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Stop comparing me. I'm sorry you're hurt and wounded, and what is going on that you have to hate this person so much?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Yeah.
That really ticked me off in a recent relationship where this person just couldn't get over talking bad about their ex.
And when they use the C word or the B word.
And actually we did post a question on our on our page, on our Instagram, and someone typed in that one of their red flags is when an ex-partner calls the other partner a bad word, a narcissist, or all these really intense things to their now current partner.
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense. That's not a good one, because especially that means that their healing has not been done yet. And they're still it's still very fresh for them.
Right. And for me, when there's kids involved, so now if you're the type of person that's going to talk bad about your child's mom,
right?
No. Because now I'm in a divorce, and of course, I chose not to be with that person anymore. But I would never, ever talk bad about him to my children.
Right.
Of course.
Or, yeah, right. So it's just I don't like that. It's a super red flag. Because it takes two to tango. So when you can't take accountability as to why you're not with that partner anymore, and all I hear is that your partner was a crazy psycho, let me talk to her. Why was she a crazy psycho?
What were you not doing or doing?
What were you not doing, probably?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes both sides for sure.
It's a good red flag.
Always takes two to tango.
And I think it's okay to acknowledge that, listen, my previous relationship was really unhealthy. They were abusive, or there was, whatever the dynamic is. But if it's constantly the point of what your conversations are in your current relationship, that's a problem.
Yeah. It's lay it out first. Or if I'm talking to someone new, listen, I've been divorced. It was not the best relationship.
Right.
This was not fulfilled. X, Y, and Z was never fulfilled in my life. End of story. This is what I bring. This is what I need you to bring to the table now. We're not talking about him.
Right. It's not your point of connection and conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's the no trauma bonding, because that's where that takes place.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
What's your red flag?
I would say my biggest red flag is lack of communication. If you're not able to be willing to communicate and understand emotions and be willing to express what those emotions look like and feel like. And I know at first it's really uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
A lot of men do not know how to do this. But if you're not at least willing to, because I understand that. I understand communication can be scary. I understand that emotions can be scary. But if there is not at least the effort of hey, this is really uncomfortable, please be patient with me, but I'm willing to try. If there's none of that, absolute red flag, do not waste my time.
Great answer. Great answer. For me, it would be abuse or not feeling safe in a multitude of dimensions, right? So not just physically, but even emotionally, financially. Like if safety ever comes into question, just like Avery wanted to walk out the door or this pocket, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done. I have to feel safe with you.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I think coming from a place of like an unsafe relationship, the first time it happens to you, it's harder to walk away.
Totally.
I became stronger from that relationship. So then when the universe is like, here it is, a second time, what would
Another
you like to
lesson.
do with it? But then I'm already trauma bonded. Then I'm like, oh, but he does things that the other one didn't do that I like, and it's different, it's that. And then you're like, listen, because sometimes the situationship or that relationship after the long one is harder to break than the one you were in for so long. And like that's kind of like what happened for me too. So it's like the first time that red flag shows up, it may be hard to leave.
Yeah.
When the universe gives it to you the second time, hopefully you have friends like I do that were like, it's happening again. 2.0. Yeah. Leave.
Yeah. It is hard. You're right. It is hard. And I think, when you're in an unsafe relationship, and those who are watching, if you are, I have to do the disclaimer now.
Please do it.
If you are in an unsafe relationship, meaning there is abuse going on, please tell somebody, please reach out to a therapist, your loved ones, please. Like, you don't have to
Be in that alone.
And safety is possible, and it is possible to come out the other side of it. But please tell somebody, please, and create a safety plan of how you can exit that relationship.
You were that for me.
Yeah.
A few Octobers ago.
Yeah.
You were that for me.
We had a safety plan.
Yeah. But I didn't even realize I was in it until,
But you have to have that. You have to have that. And one other thing I'm going to say is, because I understand what you just mentioned too, you don't even realize it's going on, but there is an escalation that happens very subtly. So don't wait. If something feels off and you don't feel safe in any dimension, please talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
Someone else has to know what's going on. Yeah.
And I feel like that actually leads us perfectly into the second question.
Yes.
Which is, how do you know when your self-worth is being compromised in a relationship, and how do you take action to protect it?
Okay. For me, it was when I completely lost like my spirit and intuition. Like I had no clarity because I was constantly in like fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like my body did not know the difference between being around like my ex or if like a bear just walked through that door. Like 100%.
Who would you choose?
Like, the bear. That's a whole other podcast. That is a whole other podcast. Me and that bear are getting close. I'm just kidding.
What's up, Grizzy?
What's up?
How are you doing?
Where's your honey at?
Oh God. Okay.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so like, and then when I was felt myself losing my intuition, that's when actually my spirituality was trying to go. I was trying to get into the yoga and the kirtan and trying to like get out of the shithole of my home, and then I'm getting yelled at for it or time stamped, or why are you there again? Like, like you should be home with your children, like saying things like that, right? So it's like when my spirituality and intuition get compromised, or someone's trying to mess with like how strong of a person I am, that's an issue for me.
Yeah. Great
Melissa?
answer. I think for me is like when, maybe it's a trauma bond thing, or like it's this codependent dynamic that shifts when I just give my power away.
Yeah.
That my whole being and existence starts to revolve around somebody else, and I lose sight of other values and other priorities in my life. I mean, my son is always that stable priority, of course, but like the other things, like the spirituality piece, the intuition piece for sure, but also like stuff with my business. Like when I start to pivot away from things that are important to me, that's when it's like, okay, something's not right here. Or I start to like not take care of my health, you know, then I'm like, wow, I am really
Yeah.
feeling crappy about myself if I'm not nurturing that. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I think for me, it would be being taken for granted and then also feeling like things are very one-sided in the relationship.
yeah.
So if I am doing all of the things to provide, whether it's like actions, right, of like doing laundry, doing the dishes, cooking every meal, like taking care of everything, and I'm spending time like learning the other person's hobbies and spending hours doing things that they love, and then feeling like that is absolutely not reciprocated, and instead it's almost like my things are then rejected. And I feel like it's easy to kind of fall into that in the beginning. You're like, oh, well, this is okay. And they're just tired or they're working a lot. So it's okay to
Take
rationalize.
on the mother role
For sure.
when it's not your responsibility to
sure.
do that at all.
Yeah. And I think it comes to a breaking point where all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, like, let me check in with myself. I think this is the action, right? Of like, wait a second, I need to check in with myself. Am I feeling fulfilled or am I feeling empty in this relationship? And am I feeling actually more lonely? And I think that's a big part. And then in terms of that action of like, how do I now come back to self? What does like that self-love actually look like? And how do I create my own validation?
I have another confession.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about like a red flag I have with myself that like that I do with relationships. So I think that I could just fix the person,
Same.
or that I fall in love with like potential.
Same. Or their project.
Due to possibly love bombing, like when someone talks so much in the future, like, oh, I can't wait for us to do this, or you know, one day it'll be that. Yeah, it's nice to like
Future cast a little.
bit,
Sure.
but not when the present, not when it's like
Is a
you
mess.
didn't even take
Is
me
a
out to
dumpster
dinner.
fire.
Where's my dinner? I just want dinner or chai latte.
I just need to eat.
something. I'm hungry.
Your girl is hungry.
Yeah.
You know, so like I know my red flag is like I have to do a
The
better
gap,
job
the
of
gap.
like I need to make
That
sure they're
gap.
checking more boxes because I am not here to fix you. I should not be able to. I want to. It's the Cancer moon in me. It's the mother. It's everything that's like there's so much potential here. Like he's so great, but like it shouldn't be like, oh, the good times are really great. And then like you are like weighing on these like bad moments or like moments of toxic behavior. It should be like,
Yeah.
that's my red flag. I confess.
Yeah,
I confess my red flag.
I actually confess the same red flag because I feel like for me too, especially with my line of work and being a triple Scorpio, right? It's like all I want to do is help and provide and make the other person better. That I think I can get into not only like that projection role, but also like that motherly role of like, let me take care of you, let me hold you, let me make sure everything feels okay and safe for you. And then the neglecting of myself in that. I've done that way too many times.
Yeah, and I think, well, it's part of our wiring, right? Especially we're these beautiful, intuitive, spiritual women, right? But yeah, we're hardwired to nurture and to care. But other side of the equation is just because we're wired that way. Again, this is like the non-negotiable. Just because we're wired that way doesn't mean we're meant to close the gap of someone not meeting us halfway or someone not providing or someone not fulfilling those other needs or you know, like you said, the vision casting, this fantasy of what it's going to be like, blah blah blah. That's not our job to close that gap for that person and make excuses in our mind. And yes, we love these people, we have chemistry with these people, right? But like,
Oh, I love that.
just because we're wired doesn't mean we're responsible to close that gap. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I completely agree.
I hope that sinks in right now
Please,
for someone.
don't fill the gap.
Oh my gosh.
Don't fill the gap. But this is what happens when we get in codependent relationships, or if we have an anxious attachment style, right? And we magnetize certain type of people. We fall in love with the fantasy and then the love bombing and like all this crap. But then at some point there's a gap.
Yeah.
And sometimes it hits us with a ton of bricks and it's like, oh my God, I'm not fulfilled anymore. What the fuck happened?
Literally.
But really it's just how we're naturally wired, but also that other person needs to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close the chasm.
Yeah.
Close
Yes.
the gap.
With actions, right? I'm a sucker for words because my
Same.
That's a problem.
That's my love language also.
Well, my
Which is good, but it could be problematic.
yeah. Well, my longest term relationship was there was no communication. Like there was no yelling, fighting, sweet talking. So there was nothing. So then like you break out of that, and then you realize, okay, so there's some men out there that actually could talk, right? They speak, and then like,
But it's McDonald's, not Whole Foods.
It's the McDonald's. It's not Whole
It's a McFlurry
for real.
with preservative crap.
Not the healthy
It's just-
shake.
Exactly.
That is made in front of
too
you.
sweet.
Exactly.
Too sweet.
It's
Too much sugar will make you sick, baby girl.
Exactly. So it's too much words, and then it was my friends over here that were like, "Pardon me, sir. Show up first.
Yeah.
Just do it. Stop talking about it."
Don't
Yep.
tell me, show me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Action is huge, especially I feel like for us, we're like goal oriented and results oriented.
Yes.
So it's like we need to see the proof in the freaking pudding.
Yeah.
Like it's just enough is enough with all the words. I mean, and again, right? Like my love language is physical touch and words of affirmation. So it's like if I'm being touched and loved up on and told all the things, like I'm melting into a puddle, but that puddle can only last so long before it starts to freeze over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
Facts.
Yeah. Well, we need consistency.
For sure.
Consistency.
And balance. Like I would say the key word for this is balance.
Yeah, that has to be a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's okay that we're nurturing and we want to hold and love and nurture and all these things, but it has to be
Mutual.
be mutual. Right.
Yeah. All right. So my question for you guys is, what's a non-negotiable for you in terms of communication?
Want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Consistency. And again, not that it has to be that dopamine all day, every day. Like that's not what I'm saying. But just a consistent expectation of when I'll hear from you, when we'll have time together,
Okay.
when, it's, and also like, I'm also expecting, listen, if something is going on that I know that I can come to you and like be real
Right.
with you with what's going on, and it's not going to be met with judgment or like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Consistency, and then also accessibility. Like I want to make sure that I feel like my partner is accessible and vice versa, that I'm accessible to them also.
You want to go?
Yeah. Do you want to go? Do you have it on the tip of your tongue?
It's okay. I can wait.
We have so much to say. Look at you communicating so well.
I love it. Okay, I'm gonna go quick.
Go
okay.
for it.
I think for me, it's about like feeling seen in the conversation. So like having that space to communicate openly and being vulnerable, but then being seen, heard, and felt and validated. Of like, hey, I'm acknowledging what you're saying. Like, this is what I'm hearing from you. This is me like validating what you're saying. And then for me, a big thing, as we were just talking about, like results oriented. For me, it's like, okay, so now what are improvements that need to be made? What are we celebrating? And then what are solutions moving forward? How do we actually now like take whatever is going on within this communication, like little bubble, and then allow that to help us move forward in a powerful way where we can create more connection and depth.
Love it. I was going to say active listening. Right. And that paraphrasing, like, okay, so I statements.
Yeah.
I hear that you're feeling this way. If you get defensive and can't like have a mature conversation about it, like I don't want to, it's a red flag. Like it's a non-negotiable for me with communication is like, you cannot get defensive. I'm not getting defensive. I'm trying to have an adult conversation. Let's own up to us both being wrong and figure out a solution, you know? So yeah, that was mine. Just like active listening, mirroring back with validation, and then doing the change and not getting defensive.
Yeah. And I would say even with the defensiveness, then not being rejected, because I feel like,
What do you mean by that?
So meaning like, here I am telling you how I'm feeling and you're getting defensive, but you're also like rejecting me by being like, no, that's not how you feel.
Yes,
Or no,
Right.
that's not valid.
Right.
Yeah.
Like devaluing
Yes.
or dismissing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of connects to my next question, which is you're kind of starting to answer it. When you're being emotionally vulnerable with a partner, what do you need to hear them say to feel safe, supported, and heard. So for you, probably not feeling
Right.
like not saying dismissing or devaluing statements, right?
Yeah.
And like hearing the words like I hear you, and like being able to take accountability, take responsibility, like I'm sorry, I'm going to improve this way.
Right.
I'm going to show up and take action.
Right.
I think that's a big thing.
And paraphrasing, okay, so you're telling me when I said this,
Mm-hmm.
it made you feel like that? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And then for me, when someone validates my internal experience, kind of similar, like they're not devaluing or dismissing it, like, wow, you see, this seems really upsetting to you, or this seems like, wow, it really did stress you out. And then also not feeling like my emotions or whatever's going on internally is too much.
Oh my gosh, I got that a lot. You're so emotional. You're so sensitive.
Yes. You're too
Yeah.
much. You're too deep.
Or that, someone explicitly saying that verbally out loud, or not even, it's like too much for them to even process. So they would dismiss or devalue.
Even just like body language, right?
Oh yeah.
If you're trying to have a conversation, that person's on their phone, or when you're trying to have a conversation,
like I'm hysterical crying. Why are
and then you hear like the clicking video game buttons in the background.
It's like,
Put that down. Put the video game down.
And
Right.
become present in the conversation.
right? Because you have to understand something, like so for the men listening. Okay, is this thing on? One of the most important things for us as women is for us to feel a sense of safety when we are being emotionally vulnerable with you. We need to feel safe, and all of the things that we just said is how you can make your partner feel that way.
And even for the women too, right?
And the
You
women
also
too,
want to create
yes,
safety for the men
too,
as well.
especially because men need to feel validated, seen, and heard
100%.
also. But that's like really important for me. Like no matter, like with DJ, like whenever I bring anything across the table, he's just like, I got you. We're gonna handle this.
Him do it too, and it's awesome. To see.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it's all about. It's like being able to be vulnerable with each other, but not dismiss or devalue.
Right.
Validating the other person's experience it's everything.
Yeah. And I would say on either side, I recommend not telling the other person they're ever too much of anything, because it is incredibly hurtful.
Yeah. And then don't go back and say that you didn't say that when you did.
Facts.
We're
This is gonna be my new sign of spice.
Yeah.
The spice bay.
Yeah, but it's a thing. It's a thing. And I think, in this new season of our life, the new season of the podcast, I feel like we're leaning into these non-negotiables now more than ever before.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think all three of us can openly say we've tolerated way too much in the past.
And no more.
No more. It's not happening.
All done.
No more.
All done. And I would say, so the last question, right, is like, what's the ultimate test for you in a relationship that determines if it's meant to last or if it's time to walk away?
Ooh. I think after your first fight or disagreement, how do you recover from that?
Yeah, the recovery.
And then when the second one happens, are you bringing up the first thing that you guys had a little tiff about, or have you moved on? Because what I learned too is that when you keep bringing up past stuff, you're just gonna, it means you suppressed it and you really didn't get over it.
You haven't healed.
You haven't healed. So yeah, what does arguments look like for you guys? How do you recover?
Yeah.
I love that.
And you have to also learn how to argue well, how to problem solve, where it's you and your partner against the problem, not each other.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And being able, I think, to actually witness each other in that, right? Of okay, are we both showing up for each other? Are we hearing each other? Are we seeing each other? And if that is the case, great. And if it's not, though, just like the last question, right? If they're being defensive and if they're rejecting or pushing away or not willing to take responsibility or accountability, it's okay, it is time to walk away. Also, I think having the same conversation over and over and over again with no action.
Very frustrating.
That is like such a trigger.
You're on a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
That's not a relationship. That's the circus.
Yeah, non-negotiable.
It's the same patterns
Yeah.
and themes that are going to come up. It's just going to look different, but it's going to be the same underlying pattern and theme. So it's just like if you guys aren't fixed it, or if one person can't meet halfway, then
Yeah, I think there was a lot said in this episode. What I would
Seriously.
recommend for you guys, right, or what we would recommend is to really reflect on these questions. Like, ask yourself what your non-negotiables are within your relationship and how your partner's showing up, and whether or not you're feeling seen and heard and validated, or if there really is maybe some like dismissive actions happening, right? Or inactions. And if you're feeling like you are alone or empty within the relationship, maybe it is time to start either considering having a deep conversation of what this is going to look like moving forward. Or if you've had multiple of those conversations, maybe it is time to start packing your bags and,
hit the road, Jack.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Leveling up. I love it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. DM us with any questions.
Yes.
Comment below. Hit the subscribe button. We love you, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.